Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in today. I have a pretty special model to show you guys around today. This is none other than the Maserati MC12. This is Hot Wheels Elite in 1/18 scale, obviously, and this model is absolutely gorgeous. It's finished in this really stunning pearl white, as you can see. It's got a nice metallic to it, and then it's got this kind of livery, this two-tone with the darker blue paint to go around the side and the rear end of the models. It's got silver wheels, and it's kind of have like a black Alcantara looking interior. So I've been really lusting after this model ever since I started collecting model cars. But let me tell you, the MC12 is one hard model to get these days. I mean, there's a few new manufacturers making this. I don't remember the names of those, but I know Auto Art has also produced this model. And then there's Hot Wheels Elite and the Hot Wheels version. So like I said earlier, this is the Elite one. The standard, just regular Hot Wheels branded MC12s are slightly different. So far, I've really only noticed two key details that are different from the regular Maserati MC12 by Hot Wheels. First is that you do not get these windows right here on this side. On all standard Hot Wheels cars, pretty much, you don't get this nice little window added in. And then lastly is a kind of a feature that I wish this model had, but it does not, and I know the regular Hot Wheels version does, is that the regular Hot Wheels version has a target top, while this one is a fixed kind of roof situation. So on the other one, you can just pull this roof panel off, and then you have kind of a target top MC12. So that's kind of cool. Like I said, this one does not have that feature, but that's all right because this is such a cool model. And I think it looks just a tiny bit better than the regular one. So without further ado, let's kind of get into some of the features and details. And let's take a look at the front right here. So this car is pretty insane, obviously. It's based off the Ferrari Enzo, and it's got this really long nose to it. As you can see, it sticks out quite a bit, and especially on this model. I mean, I don't really have too big of hands, but anyways, that's a lot. That's a lot of, kind of extra length in the front that this car has over the regular Enzo. But we'll take a look up here at the front, and we have a nice little Maserati badge, and that's an actual badge, it looks like, not a sticker, so that's really sweet. And then down there we have the Maserati Trident. And this model was insanely dirty when I picked it up. So I actually bought this for $50, which is an incredible deal considering that the non-Hot Wheels Elite version goes for, sometimes around $120. So I don't know necessarily what these are worth because I haven't really seen one sell at all recently. So to me, this is probably like a $200-ish model plus, especially as it's boxed and everything else. But I'll keep going on with this review. So looking at the hood itself, as you can see, there's a lot of lines going on. There's kind of a big central line that comes down, and then two kind of fatter ones on each side. And then there are these really nice kind of front strakes right here. And they do go down pretty deep. There isn't really too much detail to note under there. As you can see, there's some radiator fans down there. So kind of cool that they added that in there. And excuse this model for being still a little bit dirty. It was absolutely covered in dirt and grime when I first picked it up, and it's only had one clean, but I probably will have to do kind of a more detailed job, but this was just as good as I can get it, to be honest, right now. But yeah, so the front vents look really cool. There's some more up here on the side fender as well, so that looks really sweet. And then the headlights themselves are honestly kind of boring. Nothing really too crazy going on within them. It's just kind of one headlight bulb, and then kind of the turn signal indicators down there at the side. And like I said, this is a really dirty model, so excuse me. Yeah, here's kind of another look at the front. The livery kind of starts here, as you can see, and it's got this really cool kind of second line right there that I've never noticed. So I thought that was just one, thick blue paint line, but it actually follows through the side of the model, and I'll show you that in a second. But moving down here, we kind of have a front nose latch right there. Unfortunately, this model does not have an opening frunk, or at least not one that I could get open. I don't think it does open, but so that's kind of unfortunate, but it is cool that they added these nice little latches right here and here. Right here, there also is a little kind of turn signal indicator or reflector right there, so that is a little detail to note. And then the wheels themselves are obviously these really cool 6-spoke wheels, or actually 7-spoke, sorry. But they look pretty good. I mean, I think one of my biggest complaints on this car in general, especially the non-elite version, is that I just think the wheel or the tire size is just absolutely, you know, puny. I mean, look at the profile of that tire right there. The rear does have a little bit thicker tires, but for me, it looks just kind of strange that they have such a low profile tire on there. But nonetheless, you know, this is probably as good as I could get. So, but looking back there, as you can see, there is like a black brake caliper. And then the rotors are kind of undescript, but I think they are drilled, as you can see. So you don't really get to see too much back there because these are such bulky wheels. But there is actually pretty good detail back there if you can ever spot it. So moving on though, towards the rear, the more rear section of the car. This car has some pretty intense venting, kind of inspired off the Enzo. This comes out a little bit and is kind of like a little hollow rectangle right here. And this part is probably the most reminiscent of the Ferrari Enzo to me. If you ever pull one up next to it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about with this side door. So we have the pretty large front kind of vent right there that's finished in mesh, and it looks really good. And that kind of scoops through down in here, as you can see, and then it follows up through the rear. I haven't got a chance to look at this rear vent yet, but let's see if it's real mesh or not, if I can get a good angle on it. So it does appear to be real mesh, so that is a nice little feature that they added in back there as well, even though it is very hard to see. As you can tell, it looks like two big gaping holes down the side of the model. But anyways, like I said earlier, this model does feature nice little windows, and they're kind of, you know, halfway cracked on all, like they are on the Hot Wheels Elite models. The mirrors themselves, though, don't really look anything too spectacular. They are kind of just stuck on there, and they're pretty long and tall, as you can see. One thing that I did have an issue with this model is that I am missing the both of the kind of you know, reflecting parts of the mirror. So if you're going to be buying one, just note that those can fall off, and that's probably something you should ask the seller about if you're considering getting one. Right, so kind of moving on from here, as you can see, there is kind of a side intake right here up above this one, and then you have a nice little door latch right there. If the camera will focus so you can see it. Also, there is a nice little another Maserati logo right there on the side of the model, so that is kind of cool. And now we get to the parts that do open. Like I said, these doors and the rear deck lid do come open, but I'll show you the interior in a bit. But we'll keep moving on. As you can see, the side of the rest of this model is kind of just, you know, undescript, but it does have the same kind of rear body styling as the Enzo, as the rear kind of fenders stick up a little bit, as you can see. But like I said up front, this body line does continue through here, or kind of this lower body line, and then it comes up through there and runs across the rest of this model. So that is a kind of cool little pinstripe that follows through this rest of the blue section of the car. So looking at the rear, as you can see, there's a huge kind of real mesh grille down there with the rear engine bay, and then there's a nice chrome Maserati logo down there in the middle, and then we have obviously a few brake lights and reflectors going on that honestly just look pretty good. I mean, not really too much detail because at the time the brake lights weren't too crazy, but I think they look relatively decent on this model. And then we have this kind of quad-tipped chrome, or kind of silver exhaust, which kind of follows through the rest of the Ferrari lineup. I mean, Ferrari, ever since they kind of started, used these quad chrome-tipped or silver-tipped exhaust tailpipes, and it's cool to see that feature come through on the MC12. Down here, though, on the rear diffuser, as you can see, there's kind of these two little side fins, and then flanked around that exhaust exit. This mesh piece right here is actually real mesh. You can't see anything through it, but as you can see, it kind of does trail down there a little bit, but it is real mesh and it looks really nice. So kind of give you another better view of this kind of gaping hole right here, but yeah, you can't really see too much through there, or if anything at all. So I'll go ahead and just show you the rear engine bay. As you can see, this deck lid right here is kind of just matte black, but you can see some of the engine through there if you're looking at the right angle. And so let's go ahead and pop that bad boy open. If I can find a little tool key. Here it is. I always seem to lose it right before a video. But like I said, this does open, and this body line kind of follows through the opening rear deck lid, or this pinstripe. So as you can see, it doesn't really have a good sound to it if you listen. Really crusty. Maybe it's just because this model never was in a display case, but here's the engine bay. As you can see, it's got a really kind of honestly a pretty good level of detail back here. I mean, you can see like this engine air intake right here that has the Maserati logo on there, and it's painted in white. There's some kind of braces and painted in blue coming through the rear, and even the rear section of this car. Oops, sorry about that, guys. But even this rear section of this car is kind of finished with this metal plating to act as a firewall, I believe. But as you can see, the suspension work comes through here. This car doesn't actually sit on like any real movable suspension. As you can see, it's just kind of static and doesn't move up and down. But there is a lot to take in back there, and carries a kind of view of it with it up. So that is really sweet that they actually did a pretty good amount of detail back here. So maybe that's another reason why this model is so highly sought after, is just the level of engine detail. I am interested to find out though if the non-Hot Wheels Elite version is detailed as this in the engine bay. So if you have one, let me know in the comments, because I'm interested to find out. But lastly, we can move on to the interior of this model. So I'll go ahead and pop open both doors. This model is pretty easy to open the doors. You don't really need a key or anything, because this part sticks out and you can kind of just pull it out. But this interior is super dusty, so excuse that. But here you can see the door panel itself kind of has a nice little triple tone colorway going on, with some dark gray in the middle and black around it, and then this blue leather that's sitting kind of in the middle. But here's the interior. Like I said, super disgusting, super dusty. Here's kind of a better view of it maybe from this side. These seats actually are blue, as you can see, and they look pretty cool because there's a nice little silver insert in the middle and a kind of two-colored racing harness right there, which is interesting. I'm wondering if they just got lazy and didn't want to paint this other one black, or if it's actually a two-tone in the real car. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But looking through the rest, as you can see, the kind of older style Ferrari-derived steering wheel with the paddle shifters on each side, and then a gauge cluster that you really can't make out too much detail. I don't know if there's actually anything on there or not, but it is there, and yeah, it looks pretty decent. But yeah, the rest, as you can see, there's buttons in the center console, and maybe I'll try to get a better shot from this side so you can see. So yeah, just honestly a pretty decent little interior. There's the two-tone kind of follows through the dashboard. As you can see, it's blue on top of the driver's side and more kind of a gray on this passenger side. But yeah, honestly, a pretty decent interior. This one's just really dirty. So overall though, I think this is a pretty sweet model. I mean, the MC12 has got to be one of the coolest cars that has ever had the blessings to drive around this earth. So, to have this as a model, this means a lot to me. This is one of my favorite cars, if you can't tell. So yeah, it's just really cool. I do recommend it, but what I don't recommend is paying the insane prices of, what regular Hot Wheels cars cost these days. I mean, I couldn't imagine paying $120 for this and being pretty happy. And even paying $250 for a Hot Wheels Elite version that's a bit nicer than this one still might feel like a stretch, to be honest. I mean, you can get a nice amount of auto art cars for that same price with a little bit better detail, but this one as standalone, it might be worth it. I don't think these things are going to go down in value unless Maisto decides to produce some MC12s, which I doubt they'll do. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't blame you for paying whatever it is for a Hot Wheels Elite version of this car. They're just super hard to find, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, for what I paid for this, $50, for me, this is a 10 out of 10 model, just because I got it for such a great deal. But, in comparison to other model cars, this one actually deserves probably a solid 8. And just, I'm not giving it a 10 just because I don't think they did a great job with the tires. The engine bay could have opened, the front rear clam of this car could have opened. But, for what it is, I think it's a really good looking model I won't ever open, to be honest. But yeah, that's kind of my overall opinions on this car. But let me know if you guys agree with those in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. We just hit some 300 subscribers as well. So that's a pretty big milestone, and I appreciate every one of you for supporting me. But yeah, Besides that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye.